Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered, and time to introduce our guest this week, true son of Pretoria, a winner of the URC Iron Man award, selected in the URC Dream Team, double Currie Cup winner, Vodacom Super Rugby Unlocked winner, and of course our captain, Ruan Nortje.
My captain.
Thanks so much for joining us, Ruan.
Thanks you guys.
I think the first thing we've got to ask, obviously, 42nd minute against Connacht, you pick up a hamstring, I believe it's a hamstring injury. Just let the people at home know what happened and what's the prognosis.
Yeah, no, it was just unfortunately a breakdown injury. So just went in a breakdown and just couldn't get my leg out at the right time and just overextended. So luckily not too bad. I think we're looking at 4 weeks, but otherwise, hopefully I'll be back to Stormers game. But otherwise, definitely January I'll be back in the mix.
Well, I think we're all breathing a sigh of relief seeing you walk in here under your own power and all of that. So it doesn't look too serious, but we have to chat about you getting back up and limping back into the line, making about three. I mean, Connacht's recycle is incredible. They've just been sideline to sideline. This long passage of play, and you get up, you make about 3 tackles, you're communicating, you then race back or limp back on one leg after they trip over the defensive line. Just what was going through your head when you're putting in this incredible effort?
Yeah, no, I think Connacht put up about 25 faces that said. But yeah, for me it was just I was actually a bit confused. I didn't want to believe that it actually happened. So I just tried to go on like normal. But as soon as I think Jack Currie put up that chip and I tried to chase it, I knew. I felt there it goes. So then I knew it's definitely off. But it's obviously you never want to let the team down. And you don't want to just lay on the ground and wait for the doctors to come up. So I'll always go out and try to contribute wherever I can, although it's on one leg.
It was an unbelievable showing of character. I mean, for Bull supporters, just watching in the stands, you're like, this is what it's about. This is what it means to play for the Vodacom Bulls. Ruan, I just want to take it back, you know what I mean? Let's take it back to where it all began, you know what I mean? Junior school and then Wonderboom, being a son of Pretoria. Take us back and when you started rugby, what really edged you to take on this game, this beautiful game that we love in this beautiful city?
Yeah, I think it's something you're born with. I can't really tell exactly what it is, but it was just from a boy. You grow up in Pretoria. My grandfather was a big Bulls supporter, and always watch rugby with him. It just was always a dream. Just from a small boy, starting at Billy Kirapi, through high school, everything was just. I was just between the four lines. I was just in the best place I can think to be.
And the impact of Wonderboom on your rugby. Can you tell us about how they shaped you as a rugby player?
Yeah, I will always be thankful for Wonderboom. It's not obviously not the biggest rugby school in Pretoria, but I had really awesome coaches that helped develop me. So I will always be thankful for giving the opportunity there, and then obviously I think my coach Stefan van Wyk and Coach Bram Pretorius, they were just amazing in my development and also as an individual, as not just as a rugby player, developing you as a human being. So
Are you the only Springbok out of Wonderboom?
I think there's Bram van Straten. I think there's 5 or 6 Springboks. Okay. Shaw McLeod was also at Wonderboom.
Okay, yes, yeah.
So there's definitely, but I think the last one was Shaw McLeod for me.
Yeah, sure. And then Wonderboom, and then obviously Pretoria. The Bulls have massive influence on obviously rugby in Pretoria. When you add Wonderboom, what sort of influence did the Bulls have on your outlook of the game and the way you play the game?
No, I definitely say I think a guy like Coach Bram, he was also involved in the Blue Bulls and the high school performance and stuff like that. So he definitely brought in a lot of different stuff from the Blue Bulls as a whole, trying to implement in our game. But it was obviously as a player you never see that stuff. Coaches always just try to work it into training, and obviously when you in high school it's tough to to put in game plan into players. It's not always in the headspace at training like professional.
Yeah.
Your story is actually quite similar to Alwyn Coetzee, who we had on a couple of weeks ago. He's also son of Pretoria, born here. Well, I think he was actually born in Joburg, but raised here. Went to school here, Affies, Tuks, all of that. And he mentioned that he used to come to Loftus with his dad, and he had a sign, and he won a competition.
Yeah, he was in the belt, and he won a competition as a young guy, won some cash. Yeah.
Do you have any stories, or at least reminiscing back? I assume you would come to Loftus to watch the game. Any stories that stick out, or anything about coming to this place and watching these guys play and dreaming about potentially one day putting on that jersey and running onto this field?
Yeah, no, I actually in the good old days, I think it was 2007 to 2011, 2010.
4 years,
I actually didn't come to Loftus a lot. I just think it was it wasn't like tough, but I just always went to my grandparents. I always watched Rugby there. And when I came here, it was always a massive experience for me to be always sit just beyond the poles on the North Pavilion. My grandfather, when they had opportunity to buy some tickets, we always got the tickets just beyond the poles. I remember say 2-3 times we came to watch the game. It was just, for me, it was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I think like Mark and I asking, like, what are you trying to figure out? You know what I mean? You captain the Bulls at such a young age. It's unbelievable. And to captain the Bulls at such a young age, we're just trying to get into the head of the man who can captain the Bulls at such a young age. You know what I mean? Like when you got that call up to captain the Bulls, I mean, that must have been unbelievable. The biggest union in world rugby in our eyes, for sure.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a dream that came true. But I think still to this day, you don't really realize how privileged you are to have that opportunity, especially like this week when I'm not involved. You actually you realize a bit more. You're so blessed to be a part of this, and then every time you run out on this field, you're privileged, and then you have to enjoy it and appreciate the opportunity you're given.
So you mentioned your grandfather and your family. I assume they're incredibly proud of you. Just what do they think about you captaining, again, as KK mentioned, at such a young age, but captaining this team that they all supported and revered, and you would come here and watch on the North Pavilion? How do they feel about all of this?
Yeah, no. Obviously, my father was one of the people that he definitely pushed me a lot through my whole life, and I think that also made a massive difference in my life. To getting to where I am today. But I think like my grandfather, my grandmother always believed, no matter what, they always said you're going to play for the Blue Bulls one day. And obviously you have that dream, but you know how it's not just going to happen. It's difficult to get to the professional place. But I think it's tough for me sometimes. But my grandfather. The last time he was on Loftus was my first start ever for the Bulls. I think it was back in 2020, just before COVID, when we played the Highlanders here. That was the first time I had a start for the Bulls in the Super Happy. And then it was. I remember taking a photo afterwards of him, very special. And then obviously, I think 3 months later he passed away from COVID. So obviously it would have been awesome to. I know he's very, very proud for me being having the opportunity to captain the Bulls. But obviously it was a massive, awesome moment for our whole family when I got opportunity to captain the Bulls.
That's special, Ruan. And would you say you've always been a leader? You've always been a leader, like at high school, or do you think this is something you had to develop into?
Yeah, I don't really know. I just always believe. Lead by example. I just always try to lead by my actions. I'm not always the best in talking guys up and then giving a good speech. I just try to lead by example and then through my actions.
I think that comes across as fans when you look at the way Ruan Nortje plays and how he approaches the game. You guys are going to make in excess of 15 tackles a game. He's going to hit every ruck, play every minute. I mean, you won the
Score
Iron
some
Man
tries
award.
as well.
Yeah, score some cheeky tries as well.
Yeah.
You won the URC Iron Man award for a reason. What do you think and obviously you're a salt of the earth kind of humble person. I know this might be a difficult question for you, but what do you think your calling card is? Like, what is Ruan Nortje's major point of difference on the rugby field? What makes you stand out?
Yeah, I would say for me it's just when I'm on the field, I just enjoy it. I'm just in a space of like I'm back to this small boy that fell in love with the game, and I think the most important for me is I just don't try to put too much pressure on myself. And for me, it's all about enjoying every moment I have on the field, and then obviously enjoying with the company you have, with the players next to you, the friendships you have built. I think that's the most important thing, and in that way you get cohesion, and at the end of the day, you get good results.
I think you can do everything. You know what I mean? This past weekend, Mark, we saw everyone involved in so many attacking plays. You know, giving that offload. You know, working hard. You know what I mean? Obviously working in the lineout. I just wanted to ask just quickly back on the captaincy thing, right? The co-captaincy in the Vodacom Bulls, right? I'm seeing it work perfectly at the moment. You know what I mean? And some unions will think it's not going to work. Can you tell us how it actually works out for the people at home, for sure?
Yeah, no, obviously. For Jake, he talked to me and Marcel. It's just obviously he said it's going to be a long season, and it's not always going to be the perfect having Marcel and me. Like obviously like this weekend, and neither of us are able to play. But basically like Jake said, some games Marcel won't play, some games I might not play, and then obviously it makes it a bit easier for the whole team, knowing when obviously Marcel's not there, it's easy to take over Ruan. He's used to it. He knows what to do. He understands what to do, and obviously when we're together, I just always try to support Marcel. I'm not always the biggest. Like I don't talk too much. I just always try to put a bit of pressure on the ref. Well, I think it's important to always get your timing right. You can't always be on the ref, irritating him. So sometimes I'm still learning a lot, especially from last season. I'm going through a tough time. You grow so much and you learn so much. I think it's all for me about learning, and every opportunity I get to captain, just to be a better captain and implement the stuff that I learned.
Sure. So Ruan, on that point, you mentioned it was a bit of a tough time last season. Obviously, we didn't finish where we wanted to. What lessons do you think you learned as a new captain, a young captain, that you're now taking in your stride this season?
Yeah, this was definitely a tough one. But for me, it's just about understanding what to do where, and understanding how to talk to the officials, and just how to communicate with the team, keeping them calm, it's just how to read everything. So it was definitely tough, but definitely a lot of learnings I've taken out of it, and also how to prepare during a week, how to communicate with the players, and with different players you have to. Some players needs a bit of more confidence, and sometimes you are that guy to give them extra confidence just by boosting them a bit and telling them how good that was and how great they were there. It's still always learning, but I definitely say I'm much more prepared this season than I was last season.
100%. Last one, Cakes, on the captaincy point. You mentioned now emergency stations. You and Marcel out this weekend. Huge game. Welcoming the Sharks to Loftus Fastball. Ulrich Loh is captain. Just a word on him again. Another youngster that's taking up this leadership role. How do you feel about Ulrich and his potential to be another great leader for this union?
Yeah, no. Especially like last season, Ulrich supported me so much, and for me also when we talked about it, was a no-brainer. I think he's definitely the best candidate for it, and he leads by his actions, always plays his heart out, and he's also good communicating to the guys and motivating guys, and also I think a lot of the guys respect him. So yeah, I'm very excited for his part, and I'm very happy for him, and I know he's gonna be great.
Yeah. And I just wanted to quickly ask, and this man has gone kind of under the radar in joining the Vodacom Bulls, but Andries Becker. I wanted to ask about Andries Becker and, you know, Andries Becker's influence on the forwards, Andries Becker's influence on a guy like you. You know, you played in the number 5 jersey in the past, you know, as a legend. So just his influence in the team and the forwards in general.
Yeah, no, I think he's been massive for us, especially. It was nice to have a 2-3 months preseason where you could change up a bit of things and 1 or 2 new systems that he brought in. But yeah, it was the first few weeks was for me like, oh, it was amazing. Like you're being coached by a legend. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's massive for us, and us, we're still a work in progress, I'll say. But I think as soon as we have a whole new system in place and everything, everybody understands everything. I think it's gonna be flipping great for us. But Andries is a brilliant coach. Working good with the players, especially also individual. He's been learning me small things, all that small things, especially when it comes to line out, where you stand, foot movement. Yeah, just the way I look at lineouts. So it's really awesome to learn from someone that was actually in that same position and was a Springbok and flipping great in the 5 jersey.
Yeah.
Sure. I know Victor Matford always used to call the lineout a matrix. He said it was, and he could see he could crack the code. How do you approach it? Because I mean, it changes and evolves every single season. As you mentioned, there's new foot movement, there's new calls, there's whatever it may be. How do you approach the line? Is that a part of your game that you really look forward to? That's a game that a part of your game that you own?
Yeah, no, I especially lineouts. I enjoy it so much, and I love looking at lineouts. So yeah, I'd say it's all about preparation. It's important to know what our opposition does, how they defend, what they do, where in what part of the field, and obviously it's always important to look at weak links. You know, how maybe sometimes this guy is a bit slower to lift. The way they defend that guy is far from his jumper, and it's always important to look at that stuff. But yeah, as soon as you come in a game and there's pressure, that stuff gets tougher to see and to understand. So yeah, for me, it's I'm constantly learning. Still a lot of things I can do much better and be much better under pressure. But yeah, I'm every day trying to get better and to grow in calling the lineouts.
Then tomorrow you mentioned pressure. Again, another area. Our 2 Ruans out. Ruan van Mark's out. You're out. In comes Janko Swanepoel and Reinhard Ludwig. Yeah. Another 2 youngsters. I think Ludwig's been phenomenal this season. I think he's grown tremendously. Going up against Irvin Etzebeth. What do you expect from those 2? And what advice would you give them to go up against the juggernaut that is Irvin, World Cup winner, already a Springbok legend? How should they approach that kind of individual battle?
Yeah, no. Obviously, I'm very glad, especially for a guy like Piston or Reinhard Ludwig.
What do you call him? Piston.
Piston, yes.
Piston. Yeah. That's quality.
Yeah, he's been around the block for and he's still young. He's 2-3 years now, and he's one of the hardest workers in the team. And yeah, I'm just really glad for him. Actually, he's getting a bit more opportunity this season, and he's taking control of the lineout very, very well. But especially they coming up against a guy like Irvin, I would say, or the way I would talk to them is just to actually put that aside. Just focus on what you've prepared during the week, and then just do what you've trained. And I don't think they must think too much about who they're playing against. It's just executing what they planned during the week. And if the opposition is good enough to capitalize on that, then obviously we just have to look at our preparation. So I think the most important thing I would say is for them just to cut that that stuff out and just focus on your own game and then do it to the best of your ability.
No, sure. And then I know it's a tough question to answer, especially when you're in the camp, but considering all the signings we've made this season and how we've started the season, I think we've played really well. What do you think our chances are this season in the 3 competitions? I know it's a tough question to answer, but give the people at home something.
Yeah, no, obviously, I think there's been a lot of good experienced guys that came in. If you think like a guy like Wilco, Akker, yes, they've been tremendous for us, and it's only the first 6 games. So it's really exciting. I'm excited about the future. Yeah. I'm excited about the year, if I can say it like that. And obviously, we strive to definitely win competitions. And then I think obviously our biggest goal is definitely to win the URC. We know we are capable of it. We've been there 2 years ago with a shot. But I think our motto for the year is just to week for week. Obviously this week focuses on Shark, and then next week obviously we go into a different competition. But it's all about keeping that point sticking. I think that's the biggest motto for us this season. Just keep that point sticking, and then at the end of the season we'll think about anything.
Sure. And no pressure, I must say, but the supporters, there's just something in the air. There's something in the air this season. 100%. I'll be honest with you. So you guys are making us believe, for sure.
Boys, David. Okay, let's end. We've got 3 quick games, Ruan. The first is quick fire questions. So I'm just going to ask you a question, and just off the top of the dome, what's the first answer that comes to mind? So, rugby hero growing up.
Bakkies Botha.
Favorite sport outside of rugby?
Fishing.
Okay. Best player you ever played with?
Dwayne Vermeulen.
Best player you ever played against?
That's a tough one. I've played against great players.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Hardest to stop. Hardest, like, really.
I think
Julian Surveyor,
Julian Surveyor, yes. I'd say, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's not a quick fire question.
There's a quick fire question. Beer or brandy?
Beer.
Going out or staying in?
I'd say staying in.
Carrying or tackling?
Tackling.
Bush or beach?
Bush.
Lastly, and this is an odd one, but we asked Giannis them, could a average person gain 1 meter on a rugby field? So for instance, let's take KK for example.
Oh, here we go.
Do you think an average person could gain 1 meter on a rugby field in a professional game?
I think so.
You reckon?
If
Giannis said no chance.
He said he struggles to gain a meter on a field.
No, it's always possible. I'd say if your feet are good, it's always possible.
Fair enough.
Thanks so much, Ruan.
Thanks,
awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.